By reconstructing the Crannog, as it's called, archaeologists realised just how skilled and well organised Pictish society must have been. How do you build one of these?
We had to learn from scratch because obviously we hadn't got a tradition of building like this handed down to us from generation to generation. So you've got to line up your supplies, you've got to know how to cut down the trees, you've got to know how to get them in the right place, you've got to have the right manpower and skilled labour workforce. The people who built Crannogs like this were affluent, they enjoyed a great diet, probably communicating and trading further afield. Some of the little objects that we found do not come from here, such as jet, which is commonly found from Whitby, northeast England. So, and one of the theories is it's a big house. This house could sustain maybe a family of 20 or even up to 40 people. So maybe if there were times of trouble, any other people supporting the community who were living on the shore in less secure housing could all come in and be secure in a what effectively is a water castle.
Crannogs have been found all over Scotland, many from the Pictish period. Their civilization had put down roots.
But then, centuries later, the Picts become the subject of one of the most intriguing mysteries of Dark Age Europe. They seem to disappear from history forever. This vanishing act has given the Picts an aura of romance. They've become a legendary, almost alien people, inhabiting a limbo world, part historical and part mythological. But like any good mystery story, there's a twist. The Picts seem to disappear at the exact moment when the Kingdom of Scotland is born.
Understanding why the Picts vanished will give us the answer to how Scotland was created. Back in the 5th century, this is what Scotland looked like. A patchwork of disparate ethnic groups. The Picts dominated the north and east. Welsh-speaking tribes called the Britons lived along the River Clyde and the south. And to the west, a new people had arrived, the Gaels. They were seafarers, originally from Ireland, who stayed and carved out their own territory. The Gaels are the other key player in the birth of Scotland. The turbulent relationship between them and the Picts, sometimes allied but more often at war, form the backbone of our saga.
Right at the heart of the Gaelic kingdom was the spectacular hill fort of Dunad, rising up out of the great flatness of Moniavor, which means the big bog. Brooding, menacing Dunad provided the perfect site for defending against attacks from the sea. This is the entrance to the fort, and once upon a time this place was defended by walls 10 metres thick.
It wasn't just one wall. There was a ring of 4, each protecting the rising tiers of the fort up to a stone citadel at the top. Though the Gaels were as warlike as the Picts, there were clear differences. They had a separate culture and spoke a different language. And something even more striking. Gaelic art had a distinctive and delicate beauty all of its own. At Dunad, crucibles for melting gold have been unearthed, along with the moulds to cast brooches.
The abundance of such fine jewellery could mean just one thing. Dunad was home to the kingdom's elite. The Gaelic kingdom was run from here, and its kings were inaugurated in this place in a ceremony that literally married them to the land they ruled. For the crowds gathered below, the king would appear in silhouette against the sky, and then at the appointed moment, he would place one foot into this rock-cut footprint, demonstrating to his subjects that this land was both his servant and his master.
It's the end of the 6th century, and this royal inauguration is unlike any that have gone before. Although the Picts continued to worship pagan gods, the Gaels have turned to Christianity, a spiritual invasion driving a wedge between them. And the monk who ordains the king? Columba. Columba, son of an Irish chieftain, had travelled from Ireland 10 years earlier.
For his support of the Gaelic leaders, Columba was gifted a small but very beautiful island to the west of Dunad. It's called Iona, and here Columba was to found a monastery. Saint Columba is widely credited as the first missionary to bring Christianity to Scotland. And from here, on his new base on Iona, he's supposed to have converted all the peoples of this land and beyond to the new religion.